Right, we sure did. Let's see. Here's a script, for example, to plot the sign. And why is it taking forever to load up? There it is. Okay, yeah, we did a little script. Um, today, what I'm going to do first thing I'm going to do today is show you how to take a script like this and make a nice, neat Word document that does everything that you want. Um, if you're doing an assignment, how to get a Word document out that is well formatted and tells me what you're doing. It's called the publish command, and it's a slick way, instead of copying and pasting the Word and all that stuff and formatting and all that stuff, I'm going to show you a slicker way. So, double percent sign. Um, and you'll notice as soon as I type that in, it says this file can be published to a formatted document. Boom, ready to rock and roll. Double percent sign, please listen and let's try to keep it down. Well, maybe you need to get closer or something. I don't know. Double, and I do say it, double percent sign. 2% signs in a row. Put in the title then. Choose a title, a plot of the sign function. The first double percent line, this will give us the title of our Word document. The second one is a chapter title. Single percent sign is an ordinary comment. So I'm going to create an array of angles in degrees. You can do it before or after. You can put a comment, say, before the X like this. You can do it before. Or you can put it on the same line just after your command to actually create the vector. By the way, in computerese, a lot of times people will use the word array, and they won't use the word matrix or vector. We get a little sloppy, we get a little imprecise. A vector and a matrix are very technical terms having to do with linear algebra. An array is just some table of numbers. Yes? Yes, there is. Oops. Wrong switches. There we go. Okay. Yes, that will probably help you guys a lot. Okay, so you can put your comment either after a command on the same line or on a totally separate line. Doesn't matter. Little squiggly things in front of it? Percent sign. Shift 5. Shift 5. Percent sign. Okay. The semicolon, as you'll recall, suppresses output. So you won't see all the values of X coming out. You won't see all the values of Y coming out. And put another comment. I'm going to do a double percent here where I'm plotting. Yes. Yeah, well, that's what I'm getting to. That's what I'm getting to. And then we're going to do X label to title your axis. Last time I showed you the GUI, how you can click on objects in the figure window and change things. You can change things from the command line as well. This is one of the commands to do it, to put a title on your horizontal axis, your x-axis. So going to get the value of the function. Title the whole plot. Oops, I did. There, get rid of one of these. And it's ION, it's not function, it's function. Okay, let's see, I think this will be pretty good. Now, save it, go back to the command window, and then I'm going to do publish. I'm going to give it the file name. And was that file name file plot? Let's see, what was the file name? Sign plot. There we go. That doc tells us to make a Word document out of it. So if you publish this, what happens is it'll run this file, it'll run this script file, and then it'll format everything and put your output here. So away we go. Let it rip. It makes the sign plot. It thinks a bit. I guess it takes a while to make that Word document. Boom, comes up with your answer. The answer is how you navigate to your Word document. So it's in the HTML folder. Let's see. There we go. Opens right up in Word. So here's the first double % sign, comes up here. This becomes the names. The double % signs after that become your chapter headings. It gives you a table of contents right up the top. Here's your chapter heading. Create the arrays. Here's the code that you use to do it. Here's the code you use for plotting. And finally, the plot down at the very end. So, okay, editor. So you do your editor here. This first double % sign gives you the title on your Word document. There we go. Gives you this title. First double %, this title. Second double % is your first chapter. There we go. Comments just, well, here's the comment all by itself on its own line. Here's the comment following your command. You're creating your X array right here. So here's the comment following the command. Comment following the command. Your second double % sign. Second chapter heading. Second chapter heading. And this is your table of contents. This is your second chapter heading in the table of contents. Then the rest of the commands you're executing here. Rest of the commands. And then the plot itself at the very end of your Word document. Right there. Plot. I think, I'm not quite sure, but I think if I put a semicolon here, you won't get a figure menu out. Sure, let's try it. Now, you run this twice, it will overwrite what you had before, and it won't ask you. So remember, a lot of Microsoft programs, if you try to overwrite something, they'll say, "Are you sure you really want to overwrite it?" Matlab's not going to ask you. It's just going to overwrite. Okay. Oops. There we go. Oops. I forgot something. I wanted to check the properties on this. Where are the properties? Okay, this is not like Explorer. It doesn't tell you the properties right off the top of the bat. Let's open it up in Explorer. My documents. There we go. Now I can take a look at my Word document, see what the properties are. Was it created like a minute ago and 3 minutes ago? Okay. It says 18 there. 18. Modified on the 18th. There we go. Okay. So I know that this is the most recent file. That's all I'm checking. I didn't open the right document. Let's take a look. Let's see. There we go. I opened the wrong document. Okay. Darn it. We forgot to save. You'll notice a little star up here. So we changed this and we forgot to save it. And the semicolon isn't showing up here. So I did it wrong. I needed to save and then I needed to publish. So hang on, we're doing a test. We're right in the middle of a test right now. So I need to save this. Save it. Now the semicolon should show up. I'm going to close this other Word document. Don't need it. We're going to publish again. I can use, there's the publish command right there. And you got to refer to the right file, obviously. Okay, do it again. And take a look at what the file looks like. This time the semicolon is there, but so is the figure. So the semicolon does not suppress the figure output. It happens anyway. Yes? Best way, a good way, okay. Here's something else about the editor. Right click in this current folder window and new file. Script will just give you a blank page. Example, this is a pub example. Oh, I can't use a dash. I can use an underscore but not a dash in a Matlab name. It warned me. I like dashes, but it oh wait, I'm fine. There it is. Publish example. I open up the file, it gives me this. Example title, summary, section 1 title. That's what I called chapters earlier. They call it sections. Section 2. So you can put your code here. We're going to create the X and Y variables. Then the second section, we plotted the X and Y variables and so forth. So this is a good way for you guys to document your code, what you're doing, explaining what's going on. And of course, it produces a Word document that you can turn in as your homework. Okay, yes? Okay. Do you have a... Oh, excuse me. Let's see. There. That's my script file. That is the name of my script file right there. Sign plot. Right here. Current folder. Is current folder showing on your Matlab? Okay. So current folder is showing. Here's sign plot. This is the contents of sign plot. Double click. If you double click on a script file, it just opens the script file. Okay. You put in your percents and all, you put in whatever you want to say in this file and your commands. This is the file name, and when we publish this here, it takes the script file with this name and it makes a Microsoft Word document out of it. That's it, right on the command line. Let's, what error message are you getting? What's the whole thing? What does the whole thing say? Okay, go look at line 89 in your script file. Why would you have 89 lines? Okay, so that means somehow, watch out for cases. It's case sensitive. If I use capital S, let me try that. Oops, capital S. If I tried this, it should not work. Let's try it. Oop, there it is. Output file is not writable. So, capital versus lowercase. I just changed the S from a lowercase to a capital, and it causes problems. Oops, I can't do that. I can do this, though. There. This should work. Did you figure it out there, Michael? What's going on? Let me take a look. I'm going to run over there. So let's take a look. Change your extension to M. Just change the extension of the file. Rename it. Okay. What Michael did was he had a text file here. Let me simulate it. This is what Notepad produces. If you do something in Notepad, that's what it'll do. This is what it looks like. It changes the icon in Matlab, you'll notice. Now, if I try to do this, if I go back to the publish and try to do it, it won't work. There it is. Same error that Michael was dealing with. Right. So, so you got to change this to .m file. Back to .m. You don't put the .m in the file name. You know what else too? You might need to get rid of any other dots, any other periods in your file name. So you might have to use 2_1 instead of 2:1. So if this is like chapter 2 period 1, oh, look at that, and there it is, 63 alphanumeric characters or underscores. You can't use a dot in your file name, and it warns you right there. Only underscores. Alphanumeric, you can use numbers. 63 alphanumeric characters or underscores. Do not use a dot in your file name. Which is, you guys like to do that because it's easy to separate chapter and problem number. But you want to use an underscore instead of a period.
Can you go back to where you entered in the actual function and
Hang on, I'm going to see if this works. 2_1 is the file name now. Oops. Wait a minute. Why can't you find 2_1? Do I? Okay. Save it or whatever. Okay. Now do it again. Oh, I have another problem too. I just realized. It's got to start with a letter. Yeah. Matlab files must start with an alphabetic character. It must start with a letter and can contain up to 63 alphanumeric characters or underscores. So there's your rule, sitting right there. So I did 2_1. I remembered, remember, Jim, I got to start it with a letter. I can't start it with a number. And I think I have another period in there. Oops, I don't. There's the period. Okay, so so you can use a file name like this, PROB, problem 2_1. This should work. Let's find out if it does and if we've all figured out all our problems. Yes, it's working. So when I get my right file name, it'll do everything it's supposed to do. Okay, now I had a question back here. What was the question?
Just go back to the data table. That's what we wanted.
Chris, what was your question?
You already found it in the book.
Okay, cool. Henry.
I thought that we had the same question.
Right.
Just go back to the data table. Okay.
This right here, you mean?
The editor page.
Oh, okay, editor page. There we go. What are you looking for in particular? Oh, okay.
Do you have to have spaces between all those?
You know what I'm doing? I'm recording this on Panopto, and I'll let you guys know so that you can go look this stuff up. I'll start recording it on Panopto so that you can copy this at a later time.
The Word document doesn't
Right, that's correct.
That's what was causing it.
Yeah, you've got to close this out. It'll overwrite the Word document, but if Word is open, you'll get an error. If your document is open in Word and you're trying to publish to that Word document, you'll get an error. You got to close that Word document, then Matlab will just overwrite with the new publish output. Okay. That's published. Yes. Okay. Just a little bit more on publish. We do have another topic I want to be sure and get to today. This can be PDF. This can be HTML. There's several outputs available under publish. Doc is probably the most convenient, but you can do other things.
How did you go with formatting? Can you use HTML or something like that? Like a title text or anything?
All this. This double percent tells me that's the title in my Word document. The second double percent tells me this is the section 1 heading.
Does it just do that formatting that it had, like default or something like that?
It's the default. That's correct. Let's go back here.
You could probably go into the Word document itself. Yeah. There's probably even an option on here to change the.
There we go. So all of those this is a double percent, this is a double percent, this is a double percent. This grayed area is your code. This is a regular percent. If the regular percent follows your code, it looks like this. And then if you plot out anything, you get the figure at the bottom. Yes?
Is all of chapter 2 still going to be due on Monday?
Definitely not. Let's aim for Wednesday. We're just not getting through the topics. Okay. The Word document you get by the publish command, this publish command right here. Oh, watch out. This tells you the path name to your Word document right here. So it's going to go hide it. For some wacky reason, it hides it in the HTML folder. Okay, yeah, Henry.
So after you put in all your information on the editor, the next thing you want to do is save it and then try to open it using that method right there.
Right, publish.
You save it first, right?
You do need to save it. Remember what happened when we didn't save it? It didn't do the right thing. Right. Okay. Okay, next topic. We learned about matrix, multiplication, division, all that stuff. Last time we're going to go to, we're going to do some more of that. I'm going to define two row vectors. Oops. And anyway, two row vectors. And I'm going to format compact just so I don't have all those extra lines in there. Okay.
How do you save a command window? Can you save a command window?
Cut and paste. I think you can, right?
Cut and paste where?
Wherever you want to. Just select all, copy,
Okay.
paste it wherever you want. There's another way to do it too. You can select these commands over here. Now, if you copy and paste in the command window, you'll get all these little prompts, which won't execute. But if you do it this way, you can create a script. You can select stuff in this what's called command history, and it gives you all the commands that you just used.
Okay, so question. Whenever I publish mine, only the graph is coming up.
Oh, that's right. You got to open it in Word. You've made a Word document. You got to open it in Word. Okay. So it's a you don't have to turn it in that way. You guys can copy and paste from the command window. You can select what you want and copy and paste into a Word document, a Notepad document, whatever makes sense, and print it out and turn it in. You can do that.
HTML it spits out. Do you have to highlight that, or
HTML, let's see.
see that it says C users G102 documents? That's the answer for what you're trying to. You have to go to that folder. That's the.
This tells you how to navigate where the document is. And for some wacky reason, it puts it in the HTML folder.
Yeah, now I have it. Okay.
Yeah, there it is. There's the document. Okay, so you can select and copy stuff from the command window. You can select and copy stuff from the command history window. That's this window. Right-click, create script, and everything you've selected goes into a file. Then you can save that file. You don't have any prompts in this file, so that's another slick trick. You can execute this file, for example. It'll just repeat your commands. Okay, moving on. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to try to multiply two vectors. They're both row vectors, you'll notice. X is a row vector, Y is a row vector. Do you think this will work? No. We got to remember our matrix algebra. You can only multiply a row times a column or a column times a row. The number of, if you have two matrices, let's say you have an M by N matrix, which is when you multiply matrices, matrix A, it's M rows by N columns, matrix A, M rows by N columns. You've got to have N rows in the next matrix by NP. So the second matrix, matrix B, the number of rows in matrix B has to match the number of columns in matrix A when you're doing linear algebra, when you're multiplying matrices. And you will get, the answer will have M rows and P columns. Okay, well, I'll show some examples of that in just a second. But you have vector X and Y are one by two, and then one here won't work. I'm just going to show the transpose of Y. There's Y transpose. So X is 1 by 2. Now Y is 2 by 1. So it should work. And we get X times, if we multiply X times Y transpose, we will get an answer. It'll be a 1 by 1, which is just a regular number. If I transpose X, I get a um, 2 by 1, and y is already a 1 by 2. So what should how many rows and columns should my answer get out when I do x transpose times y? When I do this, x transpose times y, how many rows, how many columns? X transpose is a 2 by 1. 2 by 1. Y is 1 by 2. 2 by 2. Let's see what happens. 2 by 2. This is called the outer product, by the way. That 11 up here, this is called the inner product, which kind of makes sense. You contract it. You go from a two-element vector down to a scalar. And here is outer product. You go from two-element vectors up to a matrix. So it gets bigger, outer. It gets smaller, inner. Then, of course, if I do x transpose times y transpose, it won't work at all. Oops, I did x transpose times y. I want to do x transpose times the two transposed matrices. Won't work. Okay. Now, let's say if I wanted to force it to work. If I want to multiply element by element, x period. This is where the period comes in. Period star y. This forces x1 to be multiplied by y1 and x2 to be multiplied by y2, and it will, the dimensions of x and y have to match, but it gives you two numbers. It doesn't just give you one number. This is just element by element multiplication. So I'm going to try something a little different. 1 comma 2 colon 3 comma 4. I'm going to create this X matrix, 5 comma 6 colon 7 comma 8. So now I can do regular X star Y. They're 2 by 2 matrices, so I can do that. I can do Y star X. And you're doing matrix multiplication is what you're doing. It will be different. You'll notice Y star X does not equal X star Y. Now, this should give me 5, 12, 21, and 32. I'm just multiplying individual elements of X times individual elements of Y. When I use the period, um, 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 6 is 12, and so forth. This here is matrix multiplication, X times Y. What it does is it takes 5 times 1 plus 7 times 2, which gives me 19. 5 times 1, Y matrix 5 times the first matrix here. Then this element of Y multiplies this element of X, and you add it together. 1 times 5 plus 2 times 7, and you get 19. The second element, or let's see, let's go to the next row actually. 5 times 3 plus 7 times 4. This is how linear algebra works. 15 plus 28, 43. The second column of Y, of the product, is the second column of Y. 6 times 1 plus 8 times 2 should be 22. Oops, there's 22 right there. And then 6 times 3 is 18, plus 8 times 4 is 32, and I get 50. Basically, it's how linear algebra works. For how many of you have studied linear algebra so far? Matrix methods, linear algebra. So some of you have some idea of how this matrix multiplication stuff works, and some don't. But work through your book. You'll get a little hint about this linear algebra stuff as you're working your homework problems. Okay, that is plenty of time. We've